Good evening. My name is Nastasia Thomas. Today I'll be discussing emotion focused couples therapy, or EFCT. Let's begin by exploring our path through emotionally focused couples therapy, also known as EFCT. We will use this slide as the roadmap for the presentation. Our first step will be establishing a foundation by investigating EFCT's essential principles. Our next step is going to involve exploring the reasons why relationships face challenges, because recognizing these problems is very crucial. The next step after that, which is step 3, involves examining EFCT therapy by looking at its practical application. Step 4 will focus on an assessment process therapists use for couples and the specific techniques they employ during their sessions. Our final discussion will focus on EFCT critiques along with its adaptation to various cultural contexts before directing you towards helpful resources available for therapists and couples. Buckle up, let's get started. We're going to explore the fundamental principles of EFCT therapy. This approach serves as a method to build a stronger connection between partners. Studies reveal that this method enhances how couples connect emotionally and understand each other's feelings. The core concept behind this approach is attachment therapy, which focuses on creating a secure, safe bond between the partners. EFCT therapy has shown success with diverse couple types and effectively breaks their repetitive negative patterns. Our goal is to establish trust together with intimacy and genuine support between partners. Through a structured approach, EFCT helps couples heal past wounds while establishing lasting positive transformation. This slide shows the 3 main stages that EFCT operates through. Initially, we'll focus on de-escalating harmful patterns in relationships, followed by helping partners transform their interactions, and finally, we work to solidify these new changes for long-term success. This process is a journey that leads to a stronger and healthier partnership. So let's talk about where EFCT came from. The development of this method began in the 1980s by Dr. Sue Johnson and Les Greenberg. The field recognizes both Dr. Sue Johnson and Dr. Les Greenberg as towering figures. The foundation of EFCT rests on attachment therapy, which we discussed at the previous slide. The core principle of EFCT involves utilizing our understanding of infant parental bonding processes to understand adult romantic partnerships. EFCT identifies emotions as the central element influencing couple interactions. Emotional undercurrents play a key role beyond the observable behaviors in relationships. EFCT stands on a solid foundation of extensive research rather than just being a theory. The global use of EFCT proves its effectiveness as it functions successfully worldwide. Excuse me. The EFT organization provides the necessary training and certification. The development for emotional focused couples therapy revolutionized couples therapy through its emphasis on emotional processes and attachment bonds. The important change has enabled numerous couples to establish deeper connections. Emotionally focused couples therapy centers around the role of emotions to determine relationship dynamics. Research shows that partners' emotional responses determine their relational closeness and distance while solidifying their attachment styles as time passes. Our emotional states determine if we experience security or disconnection in our relationships. When people openly express their emotions while remaining aware of them, they create powerful instruments for healing relationships rebuilding bonds. EFCT therapy includes the essential practice of differentiating between primary and secondary emotional states. Primary emotions such as fear and sadness display our underlying vulnerabilities, whereas secondary emotions like anger tend to hide these fundamental feelings. Emotional safety between partners leads to strong trust and deeper intimacy through identification and validation of emotional experiences. EFCT therapists guide couples to reshape their shared feelings. Therapeutic guidance towards authentic emotional expression instead of defensive reactions enables deeper understanding, which allows couples to form a reliable emotional connection. To go a little bit deeper, think of, um, and I'm speaking from experience, rather just think before speaking, because when we tend to speak out of anger, we say things that we regret. EFCT takes attachment theory as its foundation because this theory emphasizes the importance of emotional security within relationships. A 2023 study by Sinol demonstrates that early attachment experiences influence our later romantic relationship connections. Secure attachment leads people to trust their partners while feeling at ease with close emotional bonds. People who experience insecure attachment tend to pull back emotionally or seek reassurance in an anxious manner. The pursue withdraw pattern frequently appears in relationships because one partner seeks connection while the other retreats. Through the development of emotional accessibility and responsiveness, EFCT enables couples to identify and modify their harmful interaction patterns. Therapy that builds connect stronger attachment connections helps partners become more receptive and emotionally available during interactions. The aim is to build a relationship that ensures both parties feel protected and supported to share their genuine feelings without worrying about rejection or abandonment or being judged. EFCT emphasizes direct emotional experience beyond simply discussing emotions. Research by Baziari shows that meaningful change depends on emotional engagement. The core of this therapeutic process lies in vulnerability because it enables partners to establish genuine connections without maintaining defensive barriers. Therapists work with couples during live emotional enactments to help them access deeper emotions instead of responding with basic frustration or avoidance, as I spoke of earlier. EFCT focuses on identifying fundamental emotions such as fear and sadness instead of secondary emotional responses like anger and defensiveness. The therapist directs emotional experiences to create moments where partners feel genuinely heard and understood during moments of attunement. Experiential methods enable couples to transform their emotional responses, which results in breaking negative patterns and building a secure connection that enhances relationship strength and intimacy. Emotional disconnection stands as the primary concern addressed by EFCT. Below, this text demonstrates that relationship distress develops when partners cannot sustain emotional accessibility and responsiveness with each other. This disconnection stems from several factors. Experiences of childhood neglect or past trauma produce present day relationship challenges by forming trust issues. Relationship dynamics suffer from negative cycles like the pursue withdraw interaction, which leads to increased emotional separation between partners. Attachment needs that partners fail to express, along with their fear of being vulnerable, worsen the problem further. Fear of rejection leads partners to hide their needs and avoid emotional sharing. Unresolved issues accumulate. They tend to intensify conflicts or cause emotional numbing, which creates increased separation and dissatisfaction between partners. Think of it as holding something in. I know I said earlier, think before you speak, but you also don't want to hold it in because it kind of just builds up and it's like sweeping dirt under a rug. EFCT intervenes in these root emotional disconnects to promote improved relationship dynamics. Patterns of interaction as negative cycles maintain couples in states of distress and connection. Brubacher and Johnson characterize these patterns as both repetitive and self reinforcing because they prevent partners from developing emotional connections. The pursue withdrawal pattern involves one partner seeking a connection and the other one distancing themselves. And the blame defend pattern occurs when one partner criticizes their partner and their partner responds defensively. The underlying motivations behind these behaviors stem from fundamental fears such as the fear of rejection, abandonment, feelings of inadequacy, being judged. The persistence of these cycles leads to deepening emotional trauma, which ultimately undermines the sense of safety with the relationship. These destructive patterns develop rigid characteristics over time, which prevents couples from breaking free without assistance. EFCT becomes essential at this stage of the relationship therapy. The process enables couples to identify their negative patterns while understanding their emotional triggers and to change their interactions, which will lead to increased security and trust along the stronger emotional connection. This is an overview of EFCT. It's an experiential approach centered on emotions, aiming to heal emotional wounds and rebuild a secure attachment. The therapy emphasizes emotional engagement and vulnerability as key to understand and reconnecting partners. A core focus is repairing attachment by identifying unmet emotional needs and fears, fostering emotional accessibility and responsiveness. EFCT aims to transform negative cycles like blame and withdrawal into positive empathetic interactions. The therapist acts as a guide, helping partners understand their emotions and support each other. Ultimately, EFCT strives to create lasting emotional security and deeper intimacy, shifting the relationship from conflict to cooperation. It's about fostering a strong bond built on understanding and shared emotions. This slide discusses phase 1 of EFCT, which is the de escalation stage. The first stage of therapy focuses on recognizing harmful behavior, patterns between partners, and finding ways to stop these patterns from keeping the couple trapped. The primary objective is to develop a robust therapeutic relationship which ensures partners feel secure enough to express themselves. Therapists guide couples to redirect blame away from each other toward the negative cycle they both experience. The focus should be on understanding their interaction pattern rather than identifying who is responsible. So you don't want to play the blame game. Don't point fingers at each other, point it towards the problem. Emotional validation for both partners is essential while recognizing their experiences impartially. The therapist examines both partners' attachment requirements and their effects on the relationship dynamics. The use of specific techniques enables therapists to lower tension and establish emotional safety between partners. Phase 1 serves to solidify the relationship foundation to enable advanced work in smaller phases. Okay, phase 2. Phase 2 focuses on strengthening emotional bonds between partners. During this stage, couples transition from their initial emotions to sharing deeper feelings which show vulnerability. They work through emotional experiences by recognizing and sharing their fundamental feelings like fear, sadness, or longing instead of anger reactions. In therapeutic interactions, therapists guide partners to practice sharing their true emotions with each other while providing safety and support. During this phase, emotion coaching plays a key role by teaching partners to respond with understanding instead of defense reactions. So when someone or your partner says, I feel like you get angry very quick, or you don't have patience, you don't want to say, well, I do that because. So you want to listen. The aim is to build an The aim is to build an environment where both parties can experience acceptance and emotional security. When couples embrace vulnerability, it leads to a stronger trust and deeper intimacy between them. These fresh patterns eventually take the place of those old negative cycles like the blame game, which leads to a strengthened relationship. This phase plays a vital role in helping couples regain their emotional connection and build stronger bonds. Phase 3 is to ensure positive changes become permanent. So, phase 1, remember, we kind of work to erase those. Phase 2, we start practicing the new steps. And then phase 3, we want to make them permanent. At this point in your journey, couples have mastered expressing their deeper emotions and responding empathetically to their partner. They concentrate on strengthening new patterns of interaction to prevent returning to their previous ways of relating. The therapist supports couples in building a stronger relationship through secure attachment practices, including open communication and emotional responsiveness. Through therapy, couples acquire new communication skills necessary for addressing upcoming difficulties while maintaining their relational health. Through enactments, which serve as guided dialogues, partners continue to solidify these changes while feeling both secure and connected. The objective is to integrate emotional vulnerability and empathy seamlessly into their everyday lives. At this stage of development, couples will possess greater confidence in independently sustaining their relationship growth. The process establishes enduring stability, which enables the relationship to remain robust once therapy concludes. EFCT differentiates itself from traditional methods by using in-session observation as its primary assessment tool. Therapists examine emotional expression and attachment behaviors during therapy sessions to gain insight into the fundamental relationship dynamics. Therapists examine emotional expression between partners and observe their responsiveness and stress reactions, including seeking comfort or withdrawal. Direct observation of emotional interaction delivers superior understanding compared to exclusive use of interviews and questionnaires. EFCT's comprehensive method enables therapists to detect intricate emotional patterns and relational dynamics as they happen during therapy, which facilitates a better understanding of the couple's difficulty. In practice, therapists obtain the most important assessment information from the therapy session itself. So, the roles of the client and counselor in EFCT. Counselors take an actively compassionate approach to lead couples towards emotional recovery. The therapists actively steer conversations to guide partners towards revealing their more profound emotions rather than just passively listening. Counselors establish a secure environment where both partners experience being listened to and accepted. Through their guidance, clients learn to identify and express underlying emotions such as fear or sadness, which surface as anger or frustration. Therapists guide the conversation flow in this process to help people connect emotionally and understand each other better, which is why it is known as choreographing emotional interactions. The couple has an essential function within the therapeutic process. The couple must embrace vulnerability to express their feelings and rebuild trust between each other. Through collaborative efforts between therapists and couple, EFCT changes harmful interaction patterns into affectionate connections. The process enables partners to restore their connection while establishing emotional safety and reinforcing their relationship. Therapy produces better results for clients who actively examine their emotional patterns through self-reflection. Building trust and authentic emotional expression requires honesty towards oneself as one's partner. Successful and permanent transformation requires clients to commit to therapy by consistently attending sessions and actively participating. To overcome negative emotional patterns, clients need to embrace uncomfortable emotions such as vulnerability in order to reach their deeper emotional states. Through vulnerability, people can express hurt feelings, which results in stronger emotional bonds. Creating positive changes in relationships requires individuals to be open to personal development and to question their own behaviors. These qualities play a major role in determining the effectiveness of EFCT. So, goals of EFCT aims to assist couples in developing a robust and safe emotional connection. A sense of disconnection or being misunderstood often leads to various relationship problems. EFCT helps partners rebuild their emotional connection so they can experience safety and validation while receiving support. During this process, couples develop the ability to share their authentic emotions beyond just expressing their immediate frustration. The relationship becomes stronger because partners develop better trust through their emotional bond. Partners develop valuable support mechanisms which strengthen their connection and enhance their relationship stability. EFCT creates enduring transformation by centering its approach on emotion and attachment rather than addressing only immediate issues. After completing EFCT, couples report improved communication skills and increased intimacy, along with enhanced ability to face future challenges together. Another goal is transforming negative cycles. EFCT focuses on harmful behaviors that create distance between partners with positive support actions. It targets the negative cycles of communication that make couples feel disconnected, helping them break out of those patterns. Through EFCT, partners learn to communicate with empathy, also listen, allowing them to reconnect emotionally. The therapy also addresses past emotional wounds or attachment injuries, which are moments from the past that may still affect the relationship today. EFCT promotes understanding and empathy, making both partners feel heard and valued. Over time, these changes create lasting improvements because they become permanent. And how partners interact with each other, leading to healthier, stronger relationships. When you focus on emotional bond, better communication, the therapy helps couples build a more supportive and lasting, loving relationship. Some example techniques, we have emotional coaching enables partners to identify their feelings and articulate them accurately as an initial move towards improved communication. Open emotional expression between partners diminishes misunderstanding that might otherwise escalate into conflicts. When partners understand each other's emotions, they can stop situations from escalating and growing more intense. Through emotion coaching, both partners develop deeper empathy, compassion by gaining a better understanding of each other's emotional needs. Through emotional coaching, partners develop skills to control their emotions healthy instead of responding without thought. Through emotion coaching, partners develop a stronger emotional connection, which leads to increased closeness between them. This method allows couples to establish stronger connections while improving their capacity to overcome difficulties as a team. These are some more techniques, which is guided enactments. Empathetic reflection and validation is another technique. Through this technique, therapists listen to their partner's emotional experiences and mirror them back, which creates a sense of being understood and heard. Through therapist validation of a partner's emotions, their partner experiences recognition and respect for their feelings. Through this process, both partners achieve better emotional regulation since they receive support and feel understood. This method enhances mutual understanding and empathy, which enables partners to understand each other's perspective. So, with the therapy, we begin with phase one, de escalation, where the initial focus is on reducing the tension and understanding the negative cycles that trap the couple. So, think of it as breaking those negative habits that you have as a couple, the blame game, the anger, the speaking out of anger. The stage is about alliance building, creating a safe space with the therapist. As therapy progresses, you then move into phase two, restructuring or rebuilding. Now that you have erased all of the negative, now you're laying that new foundation. Um, Here, you want to focus on shifting to help your partner share deeper emotions and engage in vulnerable conversations, which helps repair their bond. And then phase three is consolidation. Think of it as the permanent phase. So you're taking the phase one, which was the de escalation and getting rid of all the negative. You're combining it with phase two, which is restructuring, rebuilding, laying that new foundation. And you're consolidating, which means you're reinforcing new patterns and ensuring a lasting change. It means you want to kind of stamp it in there, make it permanent, make it a new habit. Throughout this process, you'll see ongoing emotional engagement where couples learn new ways to connect and resolve conflict. And this is a roadmap of that. This is a example of one. And then I have a case study example 2. For time purposes, I will not play this. So, many studies and meta-analysis have shown that EFCT is effective in improving relationship satisfaction and emotional intimacy. In 2015 meta-analysis by Wiebe and Johnson found that 70% of couples saw significant improvements in their relationship satisfaction after undergoing EFCT. Research also supports EFCT's connection to attachment therapy, which emphasizes the importance of emotional bonds in relationships. Studies show that EFCT helps couples experience more empathy, reduce conflict, and improve communication by focusing on their emotions. This therapy isn't supported by just research. It has real-world applications helping couples create lasting positive changes in their emotional connections. EFCT has been successfully used in various relationship situations, from communication struggles to trauma recovery, proving its flexibility and effectiveness in treating different relationship issues. Research also confirms that EFCT improves relationships but lacks information about its sustained effects after the initial year of treatment. Although EFCT is grounded in attachment theory, studies must examine how this therapy can be adjusted for people from different backgrounds. There is this minimal research concerning on how it functions with LGBT couples alongside non-Western cultures and couples from various religious backgrounds. Further investigation is needed to determine if EFCT is both safe and effective for couples who have experienced complex trauma like abuse or neglect. Additional research is required to determine the effectiveness of EFCT among highly distressed couples and those experiencing aggression or violence. Researchers should explore how EFCT can adjust for implementation in virtual or group therapy sessions to serve diverse client populations. The EFCT approach demonstrates cultural awareness by adapting to different family values and hierarchical structures through its flexible methodology. The therapeutic model highlights emotional openness and vulnerability, which aligns with Christian teachings about forgiveness and recovery. EFCT validates emotional experiences through compassionate responses, similar to how Christianity teaches the importance of bearing burdens and offering unconditional support. The therapy emphasizes on secure attachment, shows flexibility for adaptation across different cultural settings which value interdependence. The foundational values of the therapy, including empathy, compassion, and vulnerability, reflect Christian principles of unconditional love and forgiveness. The combination creates a more profound healing process based on religious faith. These are some of the key resources and some reading that I would recommend. For time purposes, I won't go through that. And to conclude it, EFCT uses emotion focused techniques alongside attachment theory principles and experiential methods to create strong, lasting emotional bonds between partners while eliminating harmful behavioral patterns. The therapy process is divided into 3 phases: de escalation, which we talked about, reduces tension between partners and restructuring interactions, improves communication, while consolidation reinforces new behavior patterns. These are my references that I used. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time.